A lot of people thought I was mad fighting 3 months later against Ilia TOPURIA. They're like, you're coming off a knockout loss. That messes with your confidence and all that. I didn't believe any of that. The only time I maybe felt something a little bit, maybe when I was in the cage. That's where I was like, all right, maybe there is something to this.
When you beat Max Holloway, you don't have the range advantage, but you were able to outstrike him.
On record, it says 72-inch reach. It's a lie. I don't have that. So it's a...
You got a big fight. Talk to me about this matchup with Diego.
I'm ready to get that belt back. I'm getting it back, and I'm going to be that active champion. Like, a lot of people are like, they're not going to believe me until I do it. Don't be surprised if, when I win, and I'm already calling the next fight straight away. Like, I'm ready to do this. I'm like, going, all right, let's go.
Oh, it's 15-time world champion Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MightyCast.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MightyCast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game where you can play directly from your phone. It's very simple. All you got to do is go to your app store, download PrizePicks, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MightyCast. Cool promotion going on right now. All you got to do is play $5 in your lineup, make your picks, where it's going to be mixed martial arts, NHL, CSGO, Valorant, you name it, they got it. You're gonna win $50 no matter what happens in those events. And a cool thing about PrizePicks, you're not playing against millions of people around the world. You're playing against the projections of what they think is gonna happen in an event. Let's say they think the strongest is gonna land, 55 significant strikes. You go with more or you go with less. Very simple, more or less. So make sure you guys get your picks in at the right place, which is PrizePicks. And speaking of PrizePicks, they have UFC 314 right around the corner. Make sure you guys look out for those picks, and we'll be giving our final predictions, and you guys know what are the best picks to make at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring the episode of the MightyCast. Now, let us get back to the great Alex Volkanovski. That motherfucker punctual. Right at 5 o'clock. There he is, mate.
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. We're gonna get everything squared up first with the producers. So when you talk, just look into the camera that he's recording you with, and then that way when we get it, it won't be like you're talking to the fucking laptop, and everybody's like, "What the fuck's he talking to? He's not talking to DJ."
Yeah, I'm hearing ya. I'll try. So what about when you're talking? I feel like I'm going to be looking at you.
No.
And then talking.
You're an actor. You can do it. You can do it, old man Volk. You can do it. I know you can.
Yeah, I could do it. Or do you reckon we could get that straight under? Nah, not going to happen. I know we're making you work now, eh?
No, it's like...
Make you work, eh?
So I reckon if I'm looking, how does it look like when I'm looking at the screen the whole time?
Yeah, miss.
I'm excited to talk to old man Volk. Can't wait.
Old man Volk, yeah.
Old man Volk. Hey, I'm a big fan, man. I follow all the content. I watch all the stuff. Cracks me up.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Mate, you're killing it as well, mate. You're absolutely killing it at the moment. That's what I was going to say to you, retired, but now you're busting your ass even more.
Exactly. You know what? My buddy just told me that at the gym, that he goes, man, you're fucking way busier than you are when you're fighting. I was like, hey, but it's fun. I'm traveling with the kids and the wife. So
nice.
It breaks up the, we're going to get into it. Don't you worry. I don't want to talk about more about it.
Yeah, we'll hold it. What were you saying?
Have you started?
No, we haven't started. No.
I'm glad we were able to make this happen. And I didn't want to slide through your DMs. And a lot of times, I don't know if the athletes want to do the MightyCast or if they don't. And so it's kind of, it's not hard.
I think all the fighters want to do the Mighty Mouse. They want to do the podcast with you, I guarantee it.
You think so?
Not many people. Yeah, I don't think many people would turn that down, mate.
Well, it's always hard because
as they say, every fighter's favorite fighter, mate.
Well, it's always hard because I don't think there's one person in the organization or in mixed martial arts that I dislike or do I think sucks in fighting. Right? I feel there's either people who have been exposed to a certain style of fighting or they just haven't got the opportunity to learn certain things. And so when I have to make my final predictions or when I have to make picks, it's like, how do you pick somebody where, if it's like, Izzy, whoever Izzy fights, I'm always going to go with fucking Izzy, right? Just because I'm a big fanboy of Izzy. But then if, when Cody No Love was about to fight, what's his name? Figueiredo, I'm like, dude, I think Figueiredo is going to choke him out. He's going to beat him because he's got the grappling. He hits hard. He's coming to 135. And then next thing you know, Figueiredo chokes him out. And then I'm like, fuck, is Cody going to be mad at me? I see Cody in Vegas. We chop it up a little bit. But I'm like, oh, man, I picked. So it's a very hard line that I have to tread where it's like, I think this person's going to lose. And then you don't know whose feelings are going to hurt in this business, what I'm getting at, right? So...
Oh man, I'm hearing you because we do the predictions and that as well. I'm biased. I'm always biased. So like, that's why every single time I do it, I would sit there and be like, I'd give my picks and I go, just remember, guys, I might be biased. Like I try and remember to say that, especially with all the Aussies and the New Zealander fighters. Even though I'm going to have their back, sometimes I'm like, this is a tough matchup, but I ain't going to throw that out there. So I'll just remember, I'm biased. I'm going to have my guys back. But yeah. So I'm usually pretty good with the predictions.
Yep.
Except for people, the bias might get in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to let people down, or I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Exactly. But at the same time, I think it's okay. That's why each time I go on record, I tell everybody, I was like, I'm about to do jiu-jitsu competition. If you guys don't like me, you guys can pick that I'm going to get choked out, and I'm totally fine with it. I'm not worried about it. My last competition, I get choked out. I'm like, fuck, man. But it's part of the game, right? Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. Yeah. And like you said, when you're making a final prediction, I was like, well, this is what I think is going to happen. And do I hope it happens? No, I want to make sure everybody wins and it's a great fight. But from me studying each opponent, this is what I think is going to happen. And this is what I'm going to go with.
Mm-hmm. And if it is someone that you like or friends with, hopefully they prove you wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why
you're going to be rooting for them. You're going to be rooting for them every time, but you just might be like, yeah, this is a tough matchup, the timing, this, blah, blah, blah. And that's understandable.
Yep, I agree. I'm assuming we are rolling, right, Jake? You're all set up. Everything looks good on your end, Jake?
We're all good? Yeah. We're ready to roll. Ready to roll when you
perfect.
are.
Okay, all right, in 3, 2, 1, boom, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another banger. We got the great Alex Volkanovski on the MightyCast, coming straight from the farm in the bar. Volk, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well, very, very well. Just had a nice hard session before we come here, so yeah, stoked to talk to you, mate. I know we've been trying to tee this up for a little while, but we got it done, and big fan of yours, mate. I think every time you get someone on the show, I'm sure they say it, but massive fan of you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate your Volk, and I'm a big fan of you. Not just your fighting style, but all the content you're pushing out, cooking with Volk. I hope my black ass can get over there to Australia and cook with you. And then I love old man Volk. I love the content you're doing there. And, it's coming on 10 years of you being in the UFC. And I know when you first started UFC, you had all this beautiful hair. Now it's all gone. But I felt the first time that you caught my eye is when you fought Chad Mendes. Right? You're kind of new. You've had, I think, 2 fights in the UFC at that time. You fight, I would say he's not a legend of the sport, but he comes from the WEC, never die, bleed blue. And you guys go, it was a sick fight, but you stopped him. I feel like that was the first time I saw somebody force Chad Mendes to quit, right? Obviously, Jose Aldo's knocked him out in the past, but you came to the fight with a brutal style where you would go head to head and you end up, forcing him. I felt like he quit because he went down and it just covered up and then you end up finishing him. Talk to me about that because I feel like that's the fight that put you on the map in the UFC at 145.
Yeah, I think so as well. So that was definitely an eye-opener for the world, right? Like I always believed in myself. My team always believed in me. Everyone around me believed in me, but, I had to prove it to the world. Yep. And still prove it to yourself, right? This is going to be the biggest test. As you said, he might not be one of the absolute legends, but he's up there. Like he's like one of the that hasn't been a champion in the featherweight division. Like he's one of the legends outside of being a champion. Like he would have to be up there. Like he's had a lot of title fights, a lot of big fights, and he's always been that guy that just didn't get the belt. But it was an interesting fight because he's a guy that I knew that I could, put the pressure on and, use my gas tank and wear him out, put that pressure. And like you said, like I felt like I was able to crumble him with my pressure and stuff like that, which was always going to be risky with someone like Chad Mendes being such a powerful fighter, a powerful wrestler, and obviously he's got a big puncher as well. So I was always going to be flirting with danger with that, but that's how I seen the victory. It was only 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. I had to really, if I really wanted to wear him out, I had to do that. I had to get to work early because there was a potential of me not doing enough and maybe losing rounds and then losing a decision maybe, you know what I mean? Like there's an opportunity. I feel like that's very hard to do with me, but early in my career, I looked at him at maybe he can get takedowns, maybe he can land some shots and win rounds. Mm-hmm. So I need to really work on that gas tank, really put the pressure on and then start to have my way with him and then and capitalize on it. And that's exactly what happened. Obviously, I got caught. It was a fun fight. He did catch me a couple of times. But, I knew I was going to be flirting with danger with that. But, I backed myself defensively and I knew through adversity I'd be okay. And then I knew that even if he did take me down or hurt me, I'm going to be okay. Obviously, I didn't want to get hit. But if he takes me down, I'm going to get up. And that's just going to wear him out more than me. And I know it is. So that's something that I've always known. If people want to put the effort in trying to take me down, that's going to wear them more than me. So I'm okay with that. I'll worry about that when it happens. And that's sort of where we're at with it. And it pretty much went exactly how we thought, besides the fact that he was able to drop me. But yeah, it was a great fight, fun fight, and a bit of an eye-opener for the world. Yeah.
As I sit here and listen to you talk about that fight, even though that was almost, 8 years ago, it seemed like you already had an IQ, a very, very high-level IQ, prior to like now when, we see you become the champion, you fight Max Holloway multiple times, you do all this stuff, but it seemed like you had that IQ at the very beginning of your career. Where did that come from? Is that just from, because your background's in rugby. I'm trying to roll my R's. I'm in study Italian, rugby and in rugby. So where does this intelligence come from? You had it at the very beginning of your career. With that fight, because that was like 9 to 8 years ago, I feel like, or 7 years ago. Where does the IQ come from?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I feel like for me, what's always worked for me is, every time I did something, a technique, or someone taught me something, I wanted to know why it works. It's not just, a lot of fighters even now can just go through the motions and don't really get the understanding of it all. I always wanted to know why, why that move works. And then if that, all right, it works this way, then we get the mechanics of it, the body awareness, where he's strong, where I'm strong, where he's weak. Just understanding all that. You teach me one thing, I could do a million things off that. I could do 20 techniques off that one technique because I understand how it works. So I've always wanted to know why. So I feel like that helped me evolve as a fighter and get a really good understanding. But so I've been with Joe Lopes, a freestyle fighting gym. I've been with him my whole career, but I feel like when it comes to wrestling and grappling, we had a pretty good understanding of that IQ, and then we totally understood that MMA is different to grappling, and you've got to sort of understand that the cage is so much better to wrestling in the middle, and we were always very aware of that and dove right into the details on that. But maybe with the striking, not so much, as in I went and did some stuff with, Brad Riddell and the boys at the City Kickboxing would travel. So I'll travel the world with my head coach, Joe Lopes, and just to, evolve our game and would learn together. But going to City Kickboxing probably gave me that more striking IQ, good understanding of that and that sort of style that I have. I got a lot of that when I did go to City, but I've always had that understanding of the game and how things work and, the right process, thought process through it, but I didn't get to really dive deep enough into the strike. I always did things very well for my style, so I understood why I did things, but then got a real good understanding of the game, of striking on a whole nother level, even things that I wouldn't do, just why things work this way, why would do this, why would do that, and then obviously I take that in and I get it now, and now it's very easy for me to sort of translate that into my style. So it's just something, I guess, that was always there. I'm an overthinker. That obviously can get in the way of a lot of things, but it can be very good in a lot of things, and that's one of them. So, if someone tells me something, and a lot of people are like, don't look into it too much, just do that, But with me, I want to know why. I want to dissect it. You know what I mean? I bore people sometimes when I dissect techniques because I'm still obsessed with it. I really love understanding why someone's doing something or why they maybe should have done this or why this worked and why it didn't. Just little things like that. I absolutely love it and still do. Like I could still bore people with just a chat about techniques because that's how much I get into it. But I feel like that's been something that's been very effective for me. So I'm okay with that.
Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, when you get done fighting and you start doing gi jiu-jitsu, you're going to fucking have a brand new, What's going on, guys? This episode of the MightyCast is sponsored by True Classic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, True Classic is a premium clothing where it's very affordable and it feels absolutely amazing. Being 5'3", athletic build, there's not a lot of clothing brands out there that are gonna tailor to my body. You see, it situates my shoulders. There's no extra fabric by my bicep, and it's a nice fitting, and it's super soft. So kick out your old funky wardrobe, get some True Classic in your wardrobe. That way you can look good, feel good, and it's not gonna break the bank. So get some new clothes in your wardrobe. Choose True Classic. Go to trueclassic.com/mighty, bundle up some shirts, get some jeans, get some pants, get some box briefs. Hell, try all of it, and you're not gonna be disappointed when you have a premium quality in your wardrobe, touching that skin at a very affordable price. Go to trueclassic.com/mighty. That's gonna help you save on your complete order, and especially if you bundle up with a t-shirt, some jeans, and some boxer briefs. Because there's just so much technique that goes involved with the gi on. Now, what was your first sport that you started, right? Because like I said, from what I've heard, you started with rugby, right? But what was the first sport you started in as a kid coming up, underneath your parents?
The first was soccer. So football, you call it soccer in America as well, right? Yeah, we call it soccer. It's obviously we're offending everyone else around the world because they call it football. But we got different footballs here in Australia and America, right? So so that was the first sport I did. Played soccer. So my brother was playing. My dad played a bit of it. And then so that's where it started. But then I ended up doing a bit of wrestling for like a year or two when I was like 12 years old. So I just thought, because we used to have like a youth night. So just at the PCYC, it's called, and they'll just have a games night where you go there and have a, sausage sizzle, which is like just a bread with sausage and tomato sauce or ketchup, whatever you want to call it. Like a little barbecue like that. They would have a skateboard ramp. They would have activities to do, and then they would finish the night with wrestling. And that's where I sort of, I'm going to give it a crack. And I was actually quite handy at it. And the coach was like, man, you got to come in. And I just had a natural instincts, good natural instincts with it. And the coach was like, you should come and do some training. So I actually did a bit. Obviously, wrestling's not that big in Australia. But in saying that, I was, quite natural with it. I did quite well with it. National champion and that within a couple of years. Like I only had a couple of losses. One was to my older brother because I was always heavy set. So I was always heavier, and we went by age and weight. So I would with the age though, it was be like 16s to 12s. So I'll be like 12-year-old versus a 16-year-old. At that age, it's a pretty big deal. But I was quite good. I only ever lost like twice, but it's not as competitive as American wrestling. I know that, but I was still quite handy. I could have stuck to it and I felt like I could have done all right, but I decided to play, get out of the tights, got over wearing the tights and wanted to play rugby league with my mates, So that's sort of what happened. Then I played rugby league.
And you played rugby all the way through high school. That's what you did. Like after the wrestling experience, you're like, screw it. I'm done with the tights. No more leotards. Now you're just full blown rugby the whole entire time.
Yep. Yeah. So rugby league and so I used to be 97 kilograms. That's about 214 pounds.
Damn.
And you could say I'm only short. Like I'm foot. I don't know. I try and say 5'6". I don't even think I am that.
You're probably 5'3". You're probably 5'4" on a good day. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So that's what I always say. On a good day when I'm nice and stretched, and after a good stretch session, I might be 5'6". Yep. But if I'm feeling tight, I'll fall short of that for sure. But so it was I used to be a prop, so I was playing the big, like a blocker in NFL, like the blocker, the real big dudes. That was a position I played in rugby league. So it was, it's funny because you look at me now, I'm a featherweight, but I was pretty much doing the heavyweights job in rugby league, and that obviously helped me with the wrestling, helped the rugby league, and then the rugby league obviously helped me translate that in MMA. When you talk about toughness, resilience. You know what I mean? And just things like that. It was an easy change for me, because again, I had that sort of natural ability. Not that this is a good thing, but you hang out in some areas, fighting, it could be quite regular and depending where you lived as well. So I was, I guess you could say, quite handy like that, and had the natural ability, and all them sports definitely sort of gave me that experience to be ready for the MMA world.
Gotcha. So what brought you to mixed martial arts, right? Because you started wrestling and you're like, I'm done with this, and you go into rugby, and I'm assuming you're a successful rugby player. What made you get into mixed martial arts? Because, and the whole entire time, I talked to so many different athletes, and usually, like for me, I was at home one day and I saw the Ultimate Fighter. I was like, I think I can do that. I started training mixed martial arts. That's what got me into it. But what got you into it, since you come from a rugby background? And you were 225 at 5'4".
So it's pretty similar actually, because it wasn't big in Australia. UFC was not big when I started watching it. Like the only way you could watch it was, I was lucky enough where I had a chip. Don't have them now, but the chip that would give you like the pay-per-views for free and main event. Like you would get all this and it give you all the channels, and probably getting my dad in trouble now, but this was a long time ago. But so I come across UFC. Ken Shamrock was fighting Tito, and I'm like, I remember Ken Shamrock from WWF. And I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And then I was like, I'm going to watch this, and then was hooked ever since. So pretty much started watching every main event, every pay-per-view that they had. And then at Blockbuster, we had a Blockbuster, which was a video store, and you wouldn't get the fights probably till like 2 years later. So we would always like 1 or 2 years delayed, probably maybe even more. So I would literally be there every week just getting the latest UFC sort of videos, and just absolutely loved it. And I was like, man, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to do this one day. Telling my friends that I reckon I'd be good at it. I reckon I could be, one of the best in Australia. Never trained a day in my life, but I guess I wasn't cocky, but I mean, I guess that's me confidently saying that. I guess you dream of being the world champion or UFC champion, even though I wasn't training at the time. It was something that I always wanted to do. Then I decided to take up the training in pre-season to end up being my last year of rugby league. So a bit of pre-season training. I wanted to keep fit. As I said, I'd get heavy. I'd be like, I want to keep that weight down. And wanted to stay fit. So I'm going to do a bit of this, MMA wrestling thing. So I started doing that and absolutely loved it, and was, I guess, quite handy at it. And had a couple of fights that last year of rugby league. Won them pretty convincingly, and decided, you know what, I'm going to take this on. And I was 22 years old when I started that. So
wow.
Yeah.
What weight class did you fight at the very beginning? Because you were at 220, you said. And what weight class did you fight at? Did you fight at 195, 185, or did you drop all the way down to like 170, 155?
I cut down to middleweight.
So
185. Middleweight. 185, and that was me cutting weight to that. Yeah.
Woo-wee. Was that hard?
Man, not really, because I guess I was used to the big boys, and I don't know. I just assumed I was as big as these guys anyway, really. Like when I looked at them, that's what I was used to looking at. When it come to even in the gym training, I would always train with the bigger guys, and I always have. Even now, I don't mind training with the bigger guys. So it was something that I was fine with, okay, and I could handle it, right? Playing rugby league and playing the position I played, I was quite durable. I was pretty resilient, quite durable, and my body could handle it. So I wouldn't look at these guys and think anything of it. And I even at the time, managed to out strength them. Like I could throw them around at that way. That small sort of stocky lower center of gravity really, really worked for me, rugby league and in fighting as well. especially my style. You know, that wrestling overhand style early. Just got the big overhand right with the wrestling sort of background, or sort of a normal thing back in the day. But yeah, that sort of was my style, and it worked for me.
I love that. When you said that you fight at middleweight, I'm thinking about Volkanovski standing next to Luke Rockhold, another, UFC, great 185er middleweight. I'm like, God damn, the height difference is absolutely crazy. But it's crazy you went from 220, 200 down to 185 and had a fight there instead of sucking all the way down to 145. Was that gradual, you getting down lower and lower to that weight? Was it easy or was it a struggle? Because I'm assuming once, you started to make that cut, you go back up, go down, up, down. What was it like going from, 200 pounds, walking around feeling good? Now you probably walk around, what 65 or 158, if I had to throw a good guess out there?
170, I think.
Okay.
You're 170. Like, it depends. Like, sometimes I'm like, I could be 170 was more the higher end.
Yep.
But, if I'm enjoying some of the whiskeys and stuff like that, like, I might be, that little bit, 174 or something like that. But I can sit around 170, 168, 170 would usually be a sort of a normal weight for me. But, it was a slow process. It wasn't something that I just did overnight. It ended up being like a 2-3 year sort of gradual, slow decline to that weight, right? And I'd fluctuate a lot. Like, I'll tell you stories as I go down. So I started off, that was the heaviest I ever was. So I didn't start my MMA at 97 or 214. I probably, so I started at already bringing that weight that little bit down. I would have been around 93, 92 kilograms, which would have been 205, maybe a little bit lighter. So yeah, like, that's a big deal. But so I would have started around there.
Yeah.
And then just would slowly bring it down, and then I would go back up. So it was weird because I would bring the weight down to the weight, and then within a week or two back up. But every time I did that, like, I would probably my walk around weight would always slowly drop. So I would always get back to 88. And it would always, like, no matter, I get down, even if I got down to 77 kilograms or 170, then I would always go back up to, like 190 or something.
Yep.
And it would just always do this. And then maybe 6 months later, it'll be 185. And then, you know what I mean? Like another 6 months later, it'll be, I would always would slowly go there, and I'd slowly bring it down. And my natural weight, or my walk around weight, just slowly dropped over them couple of years. So I would fluctuate a lot. So even when I was fighting at featherweight, so once I started to get there, which would have been, I think, my maybe fifth professional fight, I fought at featherweight. But even then, I would get down to the 145, and within a week, I would be 185 or over. I'd be 20 kilograms heavier. Yes, I would get to. I don't know how I'd fluctuate. I don't even know how it's that possible. Like, I'd be nuts. Like, I mean, I would eat everything, and I'll just ripple of water. Like, I'll just tap my belly and it would ripple. That's how much water I was holding. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would just look at a piece of bread, and I'd put on 5 kilos of water. So it was just I'd fluctuate that much. I think it was because I just would be very extreme, diet real hard, and then eat real hard.
Gotcha.
It would just go like this. So I used to, but now I'm a lot better with it. I'll never get up to that weight. But like I said, it'll always get up to 88. Then it'll be 86. Then it'll be 83.
Yep.
Now it's like 78. It's around 78, which is about 174 or something. Is probably, and I would it just depends. Depends on how I'm doing. But it's very hard for me to go over. Like, I wouldn't be able to really get to 185 anymore, even if I tried. Maybe if I tried real hard and long, I would, but it's very hard for me to get there now.
I mean, I feel like you can make 135. I'm just saying, I mean, coming down from 205 down to 145, and you're 36, you seem like, you don't have a hard time. You can cook for yourself, cook healthy meals. Have you ever thought about trying to make 135?
I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty heavy set. That's the thing. Like, I look small for the division. but I'm heavy. You know what I mean? I actually do quite a big weight cut. Like I've got Geordie, the fight dietitian, who looks after my nutrition, my diets and stuff like that. And because he does a lot of the UFC fighters and he's got a lot of the numbers, and I'm up there. Like I'm up there when it comes to percentage. I'm one of the top. So which is weird. I think that's because I love my food and I like to leave things like I'm known for being, quite professional and work ethic and hard work. I'm known for that. Everyone knows that I go above and beyond, but I probably could do better with nutrition and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, because I love my food. Even with the nutrition, I would snack probably more than I was meant to, because I knew I would get the weight off.
Yeah.
Like I knew I'd be resilient enough and I would have the mental strength. Like I don't care if I've got to cut 20 pounds in the week or whatever, I'll get it done. So like, which is not good because, but I mean, at the same time, I could have probably got the weight a little bit lighter, which now I'm doing. I'm actually doing that this time. I feel like I'm finally probably, I've always went above and beyond everywhere else. I'm finally going above and beyond with nutrition and maybe I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since 13, 14 weeks out from the fight. And I'll drink, which is massive for me. So like, and then even a cheat meal. I haven't even had a cheat meal since then. I decided, you know what, I'm not even going to have a cheat meal, which is, I go nuts with my cheat meals, mate. So it's, quite surprising. But I mean, now the weight's it's coming down perfectly. So I'm ahead of schedule and I'm going to keep that going. So I'm expecting to be lighter than usual going into fight week. So I think the cut's going to be a bit easier this time.
Wow.
I say that and then
it gets to fight week. Yeah, I know. It's like, man, I'm good on my water. I'm good on my nutrition. Fight week is going to be easy. It comes time we got to weigh in, the morning of the weight cut. It's like, I still got to fucking lose 5 pounds. What the fuck? I did everything perfect and I still got to get in that goddamn tub. What's going on, guys? This episode of the MightyCast is sponsored by Hexclad. Now, Hexclad is a top-of-the-line premium cookware. I use these pots and pans every single day, whether I'm cooking eggs in the morning or right here, you see my wife cooking me some fresh chicken. I'm very easy to please. Chicken, a little salt, and a little pepper, and that's all your boy needs. And when we use the Hexclad to cook this chicken, it's cooked evenly, and the cleanup is absolutely amazing because it's a non-stick pan, scratch resistant. These are literally the only pots and pans you'll ever have to buy. So if you want to upgrade your cookware, go to hexclad.com/mighty, and that's gonna help you save 10% on your complete order. Or if you know some friends where you go over their house and you're trying to cook at their kitchen and they got, these old, rusty, dirty pans, upgrade them. It's a great gift. You're welcome. Hexclad.com/mighty. That's gonna help you save 10% whether you upgrade your cookware or upgrade a loved one or a friend. Hey, good on you, because that's one of the things that, later in my career, when I was, your same age, when I was 36, I went up to 135, so I'd have to cut an extra 10 pounds. And hearing your story going from 205 all the way down to 145 and blowing up to 175, that's still a massive weight cut from 175 to 145. So, props to you for still having the desire to want to do that massive weight cut, because, you are a shorter guy on that division, but, 30 pounds, 30 pounds, that's a lot of fucking, that's a lot of weight. That is a lot of weight.
It is. Like, so it's weird because a lot of times I feel it's a lot of it is water, because I'll sit there and I'll jump on the scale and I'm like, oh wow, but then 2 days of dieting, I could drop that straight away, you know what I mean? But for me, fully hydrated from eating a lot of the sodiums and the carbs, and then me just bringing it back just to a nice, well-balanced sort of diet for good nutrition for the training performance, I could drop a couple of kilos or a few kilos in the week easy. So it's so it's a tricky one. Not a tricky one, but I mean it sounds probably a lot worse than it is. Yep. But I don't, as Geordie says, my fight dietitian, he says, I don't mind a big weight cut, that's for sure.
Gotcha. That's what's up. Now, this is one of the things that also impressed me about you is when you beat Max Holloway, right? You beat Max, you become the world champion, and it's very fascinating because when you go back and watch that fight, you are the shorter. You don't have the range advantage against Max Holloway because even though he's tall, he has T-Rex arms, but you were able to outstrike him every single fight. I'm like, there's no way that Alex Volkanovski should out-jab Max Holloway, but you were able to do that because of, obviously your IQ, your footwork. That's one of the things, and you were able to go 3-0 against Max Holloway. Talk to me about that trilogy between you and Max, because I never forget when, you beat him the third time, and then people were talking, oh, what's his next fight going to be? And he goes, guys, do I have to go fucking 4-0? Like, are we just going to keep doing this so Max gets one on me, then he has to do all this thing? Talk to me about the trilogy, because that was a big part of your career, because nobody was able to beat Max back-to-back like that, right? You guys fought...
Yeah, of course.
2 or 3 times. I feel like you guys fought 3 times.
Three times.
Yeah,
Three times.
Talk to me about that trilogy. I mean, technically, it shouldn't have been a trilogy, because trilogy usually happens when it goes 1-1. Then it's like, all right, the trilogy's going to happen. Who's going to get the fucking 2-1? It was like, nope, 3-0. Is that even considered a trilogy, or what is it? But talk to me about that counterment with, the great Max Holloway.
Yeah, massive part of my career. Part of my career. Like, if the growth inside the cage and even outside the cage, there was a lot that come with that story. But I will start off with when you talked about our jabbing someone like Max Holloway and things like that. It's funny because a lot of people, and I ain't gonna fool you. You're a smart man. You understand the game.
Yep.
So everyone would think that, oh, Alex is a short guy, but he's got these freakishly long arms, because on record it says 72-inch reach. It's a lie. I don't have that. So it's funny. Like I don't know if I used to, maybe when I first started, but now I can't even straighten my arms. I don't know if you could see that.
Yeah,
that's as far as they, you know what I mean? Like it's I can't even straighten them. But it's like I'm doing a Y.
Yeah.
But maybe it used to be that long, or I don't know, but now it's like nowhere near that. So a lot of people, it's funny, I just let them believe that I had these freakishly long arms, and that's why I was landing the jabs. But as you said, it was all about timing, it was all about footwork and distance management, getting them in between steps, and just the offbeat sort of stuff. There was a lot more to it than just me having long arms, because I didn't, you know what I mean? Maybe earlier in my career, but like I won't tell you the inches now, but nowhere near put his face, nowhere near that. That's for sure. But it's you don't need it. So that just shows you how effective you can be. Me being so short, shorter reach, but understanding distance, footwork, timing, and all that stuff really does make a big difference. And for someone like Max, you need to be a perfectionist at that if you want to beat someone like Max, especially beat him at his own game and be able to outwork him, outpoint him, and beat him on a decision. You know what I mean? Like it ain't easy. So so I'll get into that sort of whole process. The first one, beat Max, went out there, and a lot of the leg kicks were a big thing, and I was able to use a lot of things that he did very well, sort of against him, sort of no. But the beautiful thing about the first fight was some of the adjustments that we made mid-fight. You know what I mean? Like, because he did a great job of making an adjustment. Yep. I'll do something, then he would understand that, make a little adjustment. Then I would make the adjustment. He would make the adjustment again. It was just a little battle like that, which is pretty cool to see. Like, I think there's not many fighters that can do it. Fighters like yourself, and a Max Holloway, and I'm sure Israel Adesanya. I'm sure there's a few of them, but it's very few could probably make mid-fight adjustments to that level, I believe. But yeah, so that was quite fascinating and cool. But I was able to, work the game plan, work to a T, and make the right adjustments to stay ahead. Second fight was, so that ended up being through the whole COVID. Yep. So it was a pretty a rushed one. We ended up doing the Fight Island. So it was obviously a close fight. So, but then there was a lot of backlash after that one.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of hate. Everyone loves Max Holloway, you know what I mean? They still do. So beating him, especially to a controversial decision, the way everyone was carrying on. I didn't get it, because I believe I'm a pretty friendly guy. I don't want to offend anybody. I've never wanted, you know what I mean? I'm a bit of a people pleaser. I always have been. So to get this hate, I didn't know how to deal with it. Like, it was quite hard. So it was a big part of my career where I was like, man, this sort of sucks. So then I'll try and be defensive. Then that didn't feel right, and I just didn't know what to do. So I thought I need this third fight. This third fight, just to prove to everyone, not just that. I feel like it's always going to be, something there in my career, unless I go out there, do my thing, and then just be like, oh, okay. then just wipe that off. And I knew I could, because going that second fight, yeah, there's a lot that comes with it. So that third fight, we go out there and and do our thing, and obviously it was quite the performance, and Max Holloway is still so good, but I mean the fight that I fought, the game plan was perfect, and I was just on,
Yeah. The third one, you were on. It was like everything. There was no doubt. It was okay. Volk is
even if I had the wrong game plan, I feel like I was my mid-fight adjustments. You know what I mean? Every exchange I was just able to win. So everything, it was just it was a perfect. The time of my career, obviously I evolved so much. Got a good understanding of Max Holloway's style, and so it was just everything went well, and it was just good to just be like, all right, that's it. You know what I mean? And pass it. And I feel like that was a massive part of my career where everyone was like, all right, let that go, and then all of a sudden, pound for pound #1.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then everything that come with it. So I knew I needed to do that. A lot of people are like, why did you do the third? And why did you feel like you had to do? I just knew where I'd be when I did that.
Yep.
So I knew people were always going to have the questions and carry on. There's one way to just have them forget about it. Go out there and do what I did in the third fight. And that's exactly what happened.
Exactly. Well, because I felt like that was like back to back. I felt it was like you fought, my memory could be wrong, because I felt like you fought Max, then you fought him again, and then you fought him again, and then once that chapter was closed in your career, then you started fighting, Korean Zombie. That was a beautiful fight, by the way, because you're like, guys, you guys need to stop that. Like, I am fucking him up. And then you went to Yair Rodriguez, and then those two fights were like a beautiful performance because you were so patient, you're fast, you're hitting a jab, moving right hand, and then when you fought Yair, you heard him, and then you followed up on that. So it felt like you had a lot of growth from that Max Holloway trilogy, and then going into those two fights, it looked like you were elevating your skill set, and then showing everybody that you were the powerful best fighter at that time.
Yeah. So with that career, I think so I did Max the second fight.
Yep.
And then we're going to do the Ortega. I did the Ortega one.
Fight. Yeah, that's
so
right.
I did Ortega. Yeah, so I did Ortega. We did the Ultimate Fight. I had that fight. Then I was meant to fight Max Holloway. He got injured. So then Korean Zombie filled in.
Yep.
So that was pretty early. So we obviously had heaps of notice for that one. But so then that fight happened. Then 3 months after that fight, I fought Max. So it was pretty much bang, bang, bang.
Dude.
So I fought straight away, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. The UFC wanted it for the International Fight Week, and I'm like, yeah, sweet, no worries, let's do it. It's a fight I really wanted. But yeah, so I was able to do that. And then after that, I think it ended up being, so I broke my hand in that fight. Then I was in October, I was the backup fighter for Charles and Islam. And that's when I went in the cage afterwards. And then that's why we did the Islam fight. Then it was Yair Rodriguez, and then obviously short notice fight. Yeah. So it was the timing was different, but you're right. It was through that process with Max. That's where it sort of went to a whole nother level. I think for my brand, for my I sort of said it come with a bald head, actually. I said bald.
Fucking stress.
No. I'm talking about my confidence. When I evolved, not like even in the octagon as well, but outside, I started being comfortable with who I am and what I'm all about. It's like I took the hair off, and then this whole attitude come with it. You know what I mean? Who cares now? Like, you know what I mean? I got better with dealing with the hate and all that, and I was able to just, be happier with who I am and what I'm all about. So it was a weird point in my career, very big point in my career, because there's so much come with that trilogy.
Yep.
So being the champion, which is massive, to copping all this hate that I just, what is going on? And then to just silence everybody, and then, oh, wow, this guy's, no one can touch him. Pound for pound #1. He needs to move up. It's just funny how things can change. But that's why you got to go then. And I'm back at that stage right now. I'm sure you're going to get into this question, but I'm coming off 2 losses, right?
Yep.
So that's what I mean. A lot of people are going to be this. But, you can change their minds with one good performance, and that's what I plan on doing.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MightyCast is sponsored by VIIA Hemp. Now, VIIA Hemp is a premium hemp company that has amazing products from the spectrum of flour and gummies. Right here, this is the flow state. It has 20 milligrams of CBD, 6 milligrams of CBG, B12 alpha, GPC, and lion's mane. So when I have a full day of work and I'm interviewing all these guests around the world, I like to pop one of these bad boys in to keep your boy in a flow state and sharpen my game. Look no further, check out VIIA Hemp. Check the link in the description below to see if VIIA Hemp is a good choice for you. And make sure you use my promo code MIGHTY. That's gonna help you save on your complete order. Yeah, well, it's always fascinating because, you know, we'll just jump right into it. You know, obviously, you have to fight with Islam, which that fight could have gone either way the first time you guys fought. Then you go back down, you take a loss, going for the double champ status. You go down, you fight Yair Rodriguez, you finish him, and then you go back and you fight Islam, and then you end up getting knocked out. You get knocked out at 155, bigger guy, it happens, right? And then you go fight Ilia TOPURIA. Now, then you get knocked out again. What was your mindset about getting back in there? Because, you know, you talked about, this is the next question I'm gonna ask you after this, but get it back in there, you know, it's almost like you're in no man's land. You're like, fuck, I got knocked out by the 155-pound champ. I got knocked out by the new, you know, 145-pound champ. Fuck, you know, am I going back down the ranks and working my way back up? Or am I just like, you know what, I'm not gonna fight? Because there was a time like you were not fighting. It was like, you know, me, everybody in the MightyCast would be sitting there like, man, when is Volk going to fight? When's Volk going to fight? Is he going to fight, you know, a number one contendership fight? Or is he just going to wait for a title fight? What was that process like of you trying to dictate when you're going to get back in it? Because when you're the man, you're the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world at one point, and then you know, suffer two, you know, back-to-back losses. It's like, my ass ain't fighting, you know, number 5, number 6. I'm fighting motherfucking number 1. Walk me through that, because a lot of us were like, you know, like, when's Volk going to fight?
Yeah, so it's that process off the 2 losses was probably an easier process for me.
Oh.
I found it harder for myself in between fights. Well, before the Islam, the second one. Like, so it got to a point where, you know, I had a responsibility as champ. I wanted to be active. There's always going to be questions, how much longer, you know, do you have left? You know, when's it going to be where losses do come? Or, you know what I mean? Or, you start to decline. I need to get to work. I don't want to waste any time. So I'm fully committed to my craft, to this sport and my career right now. So my schedule, even my training schedule, I'm fully committed to my training schedule. And when you don't have a goal in sight, when you've done it for so long, because I'm back in the gym straight away, and when you don't have something in line, like I couldn't get my head around, because things can get repetitive. You know, and it's a lot harder to do. In camp, easy. When I'm in camp, very easy. Hard work, very hard, but it's clear the goal. The goals are clear, you know what I mean? Very direct, very basic, even though it's hard work, but we all know what we need to do. We've got a day, we've got everything set. That no man's land between fights, when I know I want to get back in there, I want to be getting as many paychecks as I can, you know what I mean? I want to set myself up while I'm in my prime. I can't be wasting. So that was hard for me. And obviously after the concussion with the Islam, I usually wouldn't put it out there, bit of concussion, and then I put it out there, which I'm fine with. I'm actually, you know, it's a part of the game as well, you know, with the concussions. And it's no secret that any sport, anything can get tough for people. So I was okay to open up like that. But so a lot of people coming off there. So I was like, I want to get back in there. I've got a responsibility. As I said, I was never going to hold up divisions. A lot of people thought I was mad fighting 3 months later against Ilia TOPURIA, but no one could have changed my mind. That's what I had. I'm like, nah, I'm sweet. I'm getting back in there. This is my job, my responsibility. I said I wouldn't hold up any divisions. I ain't going to hold it. They're like, oh, what about, you know, you're coming off a knockout loss. You know, that messes with your confidence and all that. I'm calling bullshit on that. There's no way you could have changed. I didn't believe any of that. And you couldn't have told me that. And the only time I maybe felt something a little bit, maybe when I was in the cage. That's where I was like, all right, maybe there is something to this. So then obviously that.
you're like, fuck.
Maybe like, you know, so I'm doing things, you know, even looking back is like, all right, I was even doing some of that even in camp as well before it. But I mean, like, you couldn't have told me that. But anyway, I won't get into it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do maybe what I should have done before that, have a proper break, you know, let the head rest and all that. And so I was able to accept that. I accepted the fact that I'm having a proper break. And it was clear to me, and that was it. So it was easy for me to be in this, as you said, no man's land. I wouldn't call it no man's land because I knew what I was doing. I knew I was having a break.
Yep.
I knew I wasn't fighting till later on, and that's fine. Now let's cook them with Volk. Let's, build the brand. Let's do all this other stuff. And I loved it. It was great. I was able to do, for the first time since I was 22 years old, I was able to put me first. Then my family, I guess my family and fighting was always first. But I was able to put me first and everything else, and then training second. Like I always did everything around training, which left no time for myself. And only time for my family. And even that was limited. I had to save energy and be careful with that because I needed to bust my ass in the gym. So but I was able to pull back and only do like morning sessions. So I was still training, but if I had to be somewhere, I didn't have no pressure on myself because, I hold myself accountable. I wouldn't be, we wouldn't be where we were if we didn't hold ourselves accountable. But I was able to let that go because I don't need to be in the gym right now. I'm worrying about everything. I'm letting everything recover. I'm letting myself, I'm working on me right now. So that was easy. And I enjoyed it. I was like, am I going to be able, this is where my question started. Am I going to be able to flip the switch and go back to that fighter's identity?
Yep.
Where sacrifice myself, me time, and just have fighter and whatever energy left for you, for the family and fighting. That's it. No time for yourself.
Yep.
I'm like, am I going to be doing that? But I mean, the fact that I know I could switch between the two now that I was able to be in, I guess you would think it would be no man's land and be so fine with it, was so good for me to understand that I'm a be okay after it's all said and done.
Yes.
But I know what it takes to be the best and to be, you know what I mean? And to be number one, be champion. And that is, sacrifices. That is no time for yourself.
Yep.
All that goes, the fighter's identity, whatever it is. Like, okay, I'm okay with that. I accept that. Sweet, bring it on. So I knew once I'm like, let's see if I can flip that switch. And then I was able to. So I started, so as soon as I did it, like I told you, I went even above and beyond where I was like, you know what, I'm not going to have a cheat meal from now. I'm not even going to have a drop of alcohol, and was able to just do that and go above and beyond and flip the switch and feel, mate, I'll tell you what, I feel great. I honestly feel great. So it's, I think it was probably one of the best things I could have done, having that proper break. Maybe I should have done that before the last fight. Maybe.
Yep.
But I mean, there's no way you could have told me that before the fight.
Got it.
No one could have.
Gotcha. Because that's the only reason I said no man's land is because like we're on the outside and we're looking in, right? We're like, what is Volk gonna do? And I feel like that's the problem with mixed martial arts as a sport is that you win the belt. It's like, okay, you get to the fucking press conference. What's next? What's next? It's not like, you're starting to see a lot more champions do it now. Like they become champion. Like Merab was like, dude, I'm gonna take a break. Like I just went through Killer's Road to get the belt. I'm gonna take a break. I'll let you guys know when I'm gonna come back. And there was a time when you talked about it just now that you had this identity that it's, if I'm not in training camp, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm having a hard time. You did a talk about that, like you struggle with that. And that actually kind of, I felt that because being a professional athlete, being one of the best in the world at, in the peak of my career, it was literally gym 8 weeks. We have a goal in mind. That's what we're going to do. And then when I'm at a training camp, luckily I was always involved. Like, okay, I'm not in training camp. I would be with the kids, with the wife, but there'd still be, maybe 45% of me still waiting for that call. Like, hey, did that call? When's the next fight? I'm watching. Till later in my career, I was like, after I'm done fighting, I'm like, bye, goodbye. I'm not training. I'm not sparring. I'm not doing none of that. But I remember you said that a long time ago. You're like, dude, if I'm not fucking getting ready for a training camp, I feel useless. Like, I feel there's nothing to live for. And that's where I felt like now it's like, I'm happy to hear you found your me time, right? You're working on the brand. You're working on Old Man Volk, Coconut Volk, because those are the things that you can do until you're fucking 85, right? Like, the fighter identity, it's only good enough. It's only good when you're winning, essentially. And I'm happy to hear that you found the me time because I feel a lot of fighters, even in today's mixed martial arts, they have a hard time balancing the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it was hard, but I mean, And I'm so glad that I had the time to have that break and understand, you know, be very comfortable with me being me and outside. Mate, to be honest, after the 2 losses, because of all the cooking with Volk and everything else I was doing, my brand's never been bigger.
Yep.
The opportunities have never, you know, come more frequent. Like, you know what I mean? The brand's so much bigger and it's doing so much better. I don't have to fight.
Yay!
But but the thing is, what I love about that I'm still able to, you know what, I still, you know, like the drive I have right now, like I'm ready to get that belt back. I'm getting it back and I'm going to be that active champion. Like, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, they're not going to believe me until I do it.
Yep.
So I'm playing April 12th. Don't be surprised if, you know, when I win, and I'm already calling the next fight straight away. Like I'm, you know, I'm ready to do this. I'm like going, all right, let's go. And I'm okay with it because, you know, this is going to be the last crack. How long? Right now, I feel great. Like I'm so glad I bring that weight down nice and early. I usually leave it a bit later, which my body, I'd feel it more. Maybe because maybe it is an age thing. I don't know. But having them extra kilos, you would feel it through camp. You would feel slower, and I just did not like it. So, you know, I was like, I wanted to feel sharp during camp. I don't want to just the last couple of weeks, all right, now I'm putting it all together. Now I'm feeling good. No, I can't. Now I want my timing. I want everything on early. You know what I mean? I want to be doing everything right early so I get the right muscle memory going into the fight, right instincts going into the fight, rather than just it all coming together. But I didn't get to really work under that sort of real feel and real timing and, you know, things like that. I want to work with that timing that I feel that I have already now. So I'm very, very happy where things are. And yeah, man, like I'm ready to get back out there and do my thing and call out the next guy and fight, you know, and have a few fights this year. You know what I mean? I'm ready to do that. And I'm okay with that. You know, I'm going to try and fit in the other stuff.
Yep.
But I'm okay with the next couple of years, or, you know, however long it is, of me dialing right in, sacrificing my own time and all that, just to build that empire for my family, knowing now that I'm gonna be all right later. Yeah, even when it gets tough through this while I'm making all these sacrifices, I don't care because I know what's on the other end of it.
I love that.
And I know I'm going to be okay with it. So it's great. So I'm just happy that I still have that same drive, if not more, maybe more drive. You know what I mean? Maybe the 2 losses, I don't think it was because of the 2 losses. It's just, I don't know. It's just right now.
I think you finding out, because that's the biggest thing. Every fighter, this is our identity, right? You're in the UFC, coming on 10 years. It's all you've done your whole entire life. And you're like, fuck, man, what's going to be like after I stop fighting? You got a glimpse of that with cooking with Volk, you know, old man Volk on the farm. You see your kids still love you. Your wife still loves you. You're having a good time. You're enjoying your whiskey. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to give it everything I fucking got, because I know once I'm done and I keep building this empire, I have something to look forward to when I come back. Right? And now you're like, shit, why not? Let's run. Let's do another crack. I feel better. No cheat meal, no alcohol. And I can't wait to see what I can do now, knowing self-consciously that, like, I'm fine. Whatever happens in this fight. That's where I felt like I started to blossom. Like, after I got knocked out by Adriano, I was like, fuck it. I was the opposite. I was like, I'm like you. I'm like Tiger Woods now. I'm like having alcohol, doing marijuana before I fucking, you know, I'm like, so fucking point, boys. I mean, I'm gonna get knocked the fuck out regardless. If this weed is gonna make me lose this fight after I train my ass off for 8 weeks, I deserve to lose. And I'm doing flying knees. I'm fucking people up left and right. And I feel it's like the reverse. You have hit that place in your life where it's like, I'm here for fun. I'm here, I'm giving it my best, and I'm going to go out there, and I know I'm going to perform, because I know even whatever happens, I'm going to be Gucci after my time is done here in the sport of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, for sure. And then again, it's hard, so I don't mind. So it's good to talk about it, because you know a lot of fighters are going to be going through that now. Like, that's going to be all they know, especially if they're committed. If you got fighters that are committed and invest 100% of them, like, you lose. I don't know if you could if you didn't, because I know you like your gaming, and that maybe that was something that was really good for you or something. But I mean, I could, just from watching you, I know you must have been dedicated to the sport. You know, I mean, if you weren't, that'd be crazy. Like, to be where you are, to have that knowledge and to be as good as you were, there's no way you weren't 100% committed. So I mean, but you lose. I feel like you lose a chunk of yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like through them years, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
As sacrifices. I mean, because I heard Khabib talking about it, lately he's been touching on, because everyone talks about discipline and all that, but sometimes that's not enough. And I knew exactly what he meant.
Yep.
It's more than just discipline. It's sacrifices. It's missing out on all the stuff that you want or even need. We can't worry about that right now. You need to sacrifice all that, and it's even going to be sacrificing family time and stuff like that. And lucky enough for me that I just took all of my own time. And so I could have more time with the family. So it was, for me to understand that and all that, that's why I don't mind talking about it. And I want to be out there because I'm sure there's going to be other athletes that go through that. But just understand is look, you are going through that, but that's a bit of adversity for you trying to be the best version of yourself, or you want to be the man, you want to be champion. That's what it takes. But you'll be right afterwards. Trust me.
Yes.
So I want people to understand that, because I had no idea, man. I had, you just learn. I'm sure people probably talk about it, but I did not understand. I didn't know what our fighter's identity meant. I didn't know any of that. I was just, it was like I was just building a machine. Like I was just constantly just working that. I didn't have time for anything else.
Yep.
So, but now I feel like I'm learning so much outside of fighting, so much about myself, so much about everything, right? You learn so much through the process. But now that we've learnt it, I wouldn't mind, passing some of that knowledge to kids or people going through it, because I'm sure they will be.
Yep, absolutely. Now, you mentioned it. You got a big fight. Diego Lopes, another guy who's worked his way up the ranks. He hasn't, I felt like he has been one of the athletes that's taken every fight the UFC has offered him. And, a lot of us thought you're going to be fighting Ilia TOPURIA. We'll talk about that, like seeing him just relinquish his belt going up to 155. But talk to me about this fight with Diego Lopes. I feel like he's very dangerous everywhere. I feel like his strongest suit is his jiu-jitsu, my personal opinion. He did show some good hand speed against Brian Ortega, but Brian Ortega doesn't have the knowledge that you do about making adjustments. Okay, let's kick, let's elevate, change, let's try to get the wrestling. Talk to me. You may not give me all the game plans, but talk to me about this matchup. Are you looking forward to? Obviously, you're looking forward to it, but talk to me about this matchup with Diego.
Well, I think, definitely a great matchup. Fun matchup as well. So it's a fight where, even though it's not Ilia, a rematch with Ilia would have been, that's what I wanted mostly, right? I wanted to fight Ilia for the belt, get the rematch. Next best thing is for the vacant belt against Diego. At least he's a dangerous fighter, exciting fighter. People are going to want to tune in because, there's a bit of hype around him. Stylistically, I think it's a great matchup for me. Obviously, he's dangerous. He's definitely going to have a puncher's chance. He's got that submission threat. I've proved to many times that I'm going to be all right when it comes to grappling. But, I'm sure he's thinking different. He's going to think he's going to show me something that I haven't seen, and I'm okay with that. But I'm really looking forward to it because, it's another opportunity where he is looked at as, you've got your Ilia TOPURIAs, you've got your Diego Lopes. He's still that new generation, right? The new school coming in. So I still get to prove that this guy's on an absolute tear at the moment. I still get to prove that I can still beat these guys. So it isn't some other guy that's been in the game for so long that I'm going to go and beat for the title. I get to still go out there and beat a new school fighter, which would be very, very interesting and very big for my comeback. So this is a massive comeback. You know what I mean? Coming off 2 KO losses, massive break. I'll be 37 in September. So a lot of people are going to be like, there's no way Alex can do this.
Yep.
Great. And they have every right to think that. They have every right to think that. And I'm okay with that. And I won't, their opinion won't be changed till I go out there and show them. That's what I plan on doing. So it just adds to my story. It adds to my story. And Mika being 2-time champion at this age, the comeback. Put it this way, we're documenting everything because this is shit people want to see. This stuff needs to be documented because the comeback's going to be real and massive, and I can't wait.
I love that. There's an ongoing ticker where it's like champions, how many people can win a belt after being, I think it's 36 years old. And I think like Henry was on it. He lost it. I was one of the guys, but they don't really count me because it was over one championship. So you could be one of those boys. You could be like, Deke, after 36, you won a belt. I can't wait to see
I think it's 35. I think it's after 35.
Oh shit, 35? Oh, goddamn.
At our lower class, at the lower classes, right?
Yeah, so the higher class. This is outdated, but what the stat that DJ's referencing, it's the record of UFC fighters aged 35 plus in title fights below middleweight. And like I said, I'll get the updated stat and correct this, but where I'm looking at it right now is 2-28.
Goddamn!
And the two people they list is Cejudo, who would end up losing to Aljamain Sterling, and then Alex Volkanovski's listed there as well. So
hey, see, they didn't list me because I was over one championship doing stuff. But I mean, it's a big deal, and I'm excited for the fight because it's a great fight for you and your story, and then for Diego Lopes as well. Two exciting fighters, the former world champion at featherweight, and then the new generation. You've been in the UFC so long at the top of the level. Now you get to, fight the new generation and see what this fight's going to be about.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's huge. And for the comeback, that's again, it's a good story. I like for the legacy. I'm not really one to be like, I want to leave this crazy legacy behind. It's not something that I'm chasing. I'm chasing my main driving factor is looking after my family. It always will be. But the fact, leaving a legacy while I'm chasing that would be incredible too. You're right. That may be the next best thing. So this could really add to that story and legacy and be great. And I'm telling you, it's going to happen. So, I'm very, very confident. I've been trying to say quietly confident, but it's not quietly because I keep telling everyone I'm winning that belt. So it's not quietly confident anymore. But I'm, quite confident in where I'm at and fighting the right fight. Again, very dangerous guy. I make a mistake, he could definitely capitalize it, but I won't make any mistakes this time. Look, if I fight my fight and lose, I'm going to be happy.
Yep.
I'm going to be okay with it. I'll be okay with it.
Yep.
I feel like maybe my last fight, I didn't really fight my fight. And I paid the ultimate price because of it. Doesn't mean that's not how the fight was going to go, but I still, I want to know if, that's why I was looking forward to that rematch. But hey, I go do what I plan on doing. Maybe he's going to do the lightweight title fight. I go there, and as I said, I want to be active. I'll fight someone 3 months later, and then we do an even bigger rematch. Could you imagine how big that rematch will be after Volk's back?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So we could just set up something even bigger further down the track.
Yeah, I love that. Were you surprised when he vacated his belt, when he was like, I'm done at 145, I'm going up to 155, because I think he was trying to chase that double champ status. But were you shocked when he released the belt at 145 and now he's going to go to 155?
Yeah, I was still surprised that he did do that. I knew that he wanted to move to lightweight. I knew that if he was ever going to fight at featherweight again, it would be against me, and that's it.
Yep.
I was the only fight that he was interested in fighting again in featherweight. But I thought he would want to hang on to that and do the title fight to say he was double champ.
Yep.
But the UFC, I just don't think was going to let that happen. And the fact that he's committing to the lightweight, I think that gives him the opportunity to go straight to the title shot. I think him committing to that and vacating the belt, I think that puts him in a good position to claim that next title fight. So, so I think that's going to happen for him. I don't know, but I'm just going with that. So I was a little surprised, but at the same time, I knew something was going on because I wanted to know. They told me the date. They couldn't give me the exact person. Only 2 weeks before they announced it, I found out it was Diego. So I didn't find out till I was in UFC Sydney. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, oh, look, we'll know by this weekend. So I think they just wanted to have a proper chat, and then that's where they would have made the decision. No, you know what? I'm done at featherweight. I'm moving up. So then I was told that it was Diego. I just was told it was Diego. I knew it was going to be for a belt. I knew my fight, the next fight was going to be title. Even after my losses and I had that big break, I always knew that my next fight would be for the title. The UFC promised me that and told me that the whole time. But I knew that was going to be the case. I just thought, is it interim? Or I didn't know. So I was listening to Dana White's live feed, and that's where I found out it was actually for the vacated belt. I was like, oh, damn, okay, sweet, So the next best thing, right, other than Ilia, fighting Ilia for the rematch, the next best thing, Diego for the vacant belt.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yep. Love it. I was just shocked. Now let's get away from fighting, right? All right, let's talk about the farm. Let's talk about old man Volk. Let's talk about cooking with Volk. Have you always been a good cook? Like, have you, because when you first started doing it on Instagram, you're like, all right, here we go, boys, put a little Bobby, put a little salt. They gotta pepper that in. You do the voiceovers. What made you go down? What made you go down this path of like, you know what? I'm gonna start building my brand, which I think a lot of fighters, you know, when I was in my career, I didn't build my brand. I played video games, but now that I'm done fighting, I can give all my love to the passion I have for mixed martial arts, talking to the fighters. But for you, you started doing it in the middle of your career. Like, have you always cooked before, or is this something new? You're like, you know, I'm gonna start fucking cooking. I'm just gonna start just cooking shit.
Yeah, well, I've always loved cooking. I've always been quite handy. I wouldn't say good. I still don't think I'm that good at cooking. You know what I mean? Like, I do things all right, but the good thing with it is I can do things that I feel like anyone can do, and I want everyone to learn with me. So a lot of my cooking with Volk, when I go over to, and with the professionals, right, with the chefs, I go there and teach me and teach my audience how to cook this. Then I'll do, you know, I might do my own flavor to certain meals, and I'll be honest, I can work a barbecue. I'm quite handy on the barbecue, so I'll claim that. But I mean, with everything else, I'm still learning. Like all the, you know, these guys are chefs and that they're I don't know what courses they do, courses for that type of stuff to understand things. I just wing everything, you know. I wing everything in life. I literally wing everything in life, right? So it's which works for me. Sure, it works for most people anyway. But one thing that I'm glad I did was cooking. Yep. Because everyone loves food. Yep. Everyone. I don't care whether you're into tennis, you know what I mean, golf, or you
swimming,
love,
whatever.
Going to whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care who you are. Like, I don't know if that was going to be politically correct. I was going to name everything. I don't care if you're a fighter, like, I won't go. I was going to say, like, gay, lesbian, like, it does not matter. Everyone loves food, right? Yep. And everyone can relate to that. And so, like, I was probably shouldn't have went there. I was going to just name all, like, you know, crazy different
no,
things.
you're fine. No,
everyone,
yeah,
everyone can relate to food.
Yes,
right. Everyone can relate to food, and everyone loves food. Yep. And that's what, because there's so many people that, you know, find out that I'm a fighter. Like, they watch my cook and they'll be like, oh no, I didn't even know this guy fought for a living. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. So I was able to build my brand outside of fighting, and it was great. It's fun. I enjoy it. So it started off with me, just my stories. Like, you know, just in my story, chuck up, you know, me cooking the feed for when I'm in camp. Like, say if I was over in New Zealand, Thailand, I'll cook a feed for my team. So I'd, you know, record it. And then I started doing that. I started to get a lot of feedback. So then I started posting it. Some of them posts, you know, depending on what I was cooking, would get the most views on my Instagram, you know, on social media. So I was like, far out, this is something that I'll go. And then most of my top content pieces are my cooking stuff. So it's so it made me it made me realize that we may be onto something here, and people love it. So it's incredible. Yeah,
dude, I think you could do like a reality show, like Cooking with Volk. Like, you can't even cook the fucking lamb. Look, it's way overdone. Like, I feel it brings out your charisma and a different side of you, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you can cook forever. You can always create content around cooking. But you only can fight for so long. But for people to identify you as, hey, that guy cooks, oh, he's also a badass fighter, that's when you know you got something going on. And the fact that you said that most of your interactions or your most viewed content has been not you fighting or training in a gym, hitting pads, it's you cooking. That's incredible.
Yeah, so it depends. Like, yeah, it really is. There's some other things that might go viral. That's, you know, depending timing thing, or like, you know, you're doing something with Zuckerberg, or, you know what I mean, your reaction to Max Holloway knocking out Justin Gaethje, and the timing of it just blows up. But very, very consistent with the cooking. Like I said, everyone can relate to food. Everyone loves food, whether you're heavy, skinny, you know, you name it. It does not matter. Everyone loves food. Even people that are dieting, even you would know, when we're dieting, we're not even allowed to eat this stuff. We're watching food channels, you know, food porn as we call it. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world or what way of life you're living, everyone loves food. So we can all relate there. So it's good.
What are
You
the,
might not like fighting, but you love food, and so do I.
exactly?
Come join me while I eat this, you know?
What are
That's where I was going with it. Like people that would never watch fighting,
Yep.
but they love my cooking channel.
Yep, absolutely. What is the one food you love to cook? It's like if I was like, hey Volk, come over here. We're gonna cook your favorite piece of meat or your favorite meal or your favorite dish. What would it be?
I mean, steak's always going to be good. Like I love steak. It's very easy. Burgers. I mean, burgers are. I like to do them because they're quite easy. They don't take too much time, and they're always a hit. You know what I mean? Like you can't really miss with them. Like I know everyone's going to be like, "Oh, you're mad."
Well, talk to me. What's a Volk burger look like? What's a sexy burger, as I call it? What's a sexy burger that Volk?
I keep it simple.
Okay.
So that's the thing. A lot of people, you see, you go to like some burger place, they chuck all this cheese, melted cheese all over it. I'm not in. Look, I've done that. You know what I mean? Like I've done some clips with that. Like because I know some people like it. But for me, I like it simple. Give me just a smash burger with get the onions jammed into that meat patty, just a bit of salt and pepper, chuck the cheese on it. Maybe a little bit of lettuce, onion, tomato, and a nice burger sauce, and that's it. You know what I mean? Use the right buns. As long as you're using the right stuff and the right seasoning and the right amount of burger sauce, it's a hit every single time. And it can be literally that easy to make and be one of the best burgers someone that you're cooking for they've ever had. And they're just like, that's something that, so a burger is good. I mean, steak, everyone knows it. Most people know how to cook a steak. But I mean, if you could go get a nice quality steak from somewhere, that's big. Like, if you get a really, really good steak, you can't stuff it up. But I mean, cooking it right with a really good steak, everyone's happy.
Are we talking about a ribeye? Are we talking about filet mignon?
Ribeye. I'm a ribeye.
Okay. Bone in, bone out.
Guy,
What are we? Bone in, bone out. What are we talking?
Okay. This is a good question. Good question. So, bone in, bone out. Bone in looks very good for the camera. Everyone loves a big, bone in ribeye, a big tomahawk. Yeah, everyone loves it, right? Like it's good. But to be honest, I get my best cooks when it's off the bone. So I feel like the consistency through the whole steak when I cook it off the bone, and obviously I don't mind the thick steaks, but when I go at an inch thick, obviously you can do bigger. It looks cool, but when I just go inch or around that area, that's when you get the best result. So no bone is if I really wanted to show off if I slice a bit of meat, cook it the way I want it with the right steak. It wouldn't be bone in. It would be just a ribeye on its own, and I'll slice it up. But that's what I'll be going for. Still get a Wagyu in there because again, that getting that fat rendering through the meat. Yep. Get it falling apart. Get extra flavor through there. You know what I mean? A little season after you chop it up, you can't miss with it.
I'm telling you, man, I can't wait to see, when you're like, okay, I'm done fighting. We're going full time on the E channel. It's going to be Cooking with Volk. I'm cooking a dish every single week. Come hang out. You're going to have, your whole crowd there and everyone's going to be like, applause. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Okay, well, we just got done searing your steak. I brought it at a good temp of 450 degrees. Now I'm going to go ahead. I can't wait to see it. Now, let's talk about Old Man Volk. Okay. You show up, you show up to your fight as an old man. You do these fucking skits that are absolutely hilarious. You got your neighbor on the farm. I don't know what her name is, Peggy or something like that. Talk to you about this character.
What's her name? What's her name again? Oh man, I've got it at the end of my tongue. Old Man Volk. Who's the girl that that's always arguing? My neighbor.
Yeah.
Beverly.
Yeah.
Bev, that's it.
So you got Bev.
Yeah, she's great.
You got Bev, right? She's part of it. Talk to me about this character of Old Man Volk.
So it come with the timing, right? It's just it come with the stats that he just pulled, and everyone was saying, you can't win a title when you're 35, or they were saying all this sort of stuff, and everyone's saying, look, I'm coming off a KO loss. Everyone, all of a sudden, I'm old, so I'm just like, all right, I'll just run with it. We'll run with it. So my Sportsbet was a sponsor of mine, they come up with the idea. They want to do. I go, I love it. Let's do it. So we went all in with it, and I end up doing the press conference, wearing it and stuff like that, and it was great. People loved it. So and I've done a couple of other skits after that, but I've even done other skits outside of Old Man Volk. But again, you get to show just a different side of you. Like the acting, I love acting. I love doing like every ad that I do and. Skits, I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. Like it's something that I want to pursue when I'm done as well. So I'm looking forward to testing my talent there. I reckon I've got some skill there. So I want to show it off.
Yeah, I would say when you're doing the concrete one, you're like, you should be the best ever. Then everyone's like, you've never been no fucking funny. I goes, yeah, man. Yeah, I agree too. I think you have something there. It's always been enjoyable to not just watch your fight career, but even just all the skits, the Cooking with Volk, Old Man Volk, you and Bev, The Farm. It's like, it's something that I look forward to as I continue to do this and follow the sport. I always like to see what other fighters do outside of fighting, because that's where I feel it's very important to be able to connect with the fans, not just through fighting, but through comedy, through cooking, through, skits. And I think you and Merab are probably the best to do it in the game today right now. So I just want to give you your flowers about all the shit you got going on. I absolutely love it, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, so I've been actually meaning to do something with Merab. We've done a bit of the cooking and that with each other. We've done a couple of things when we were in Abu Dhabi last. But I'm like, we've got to do a proper skit, do something fun. Because, he's good. He's good. I mean, he is all energy as well. So I love that. So I need things to keep me busy a lot of the time, and he's full of energy. He's just like no, it doesn't stop. So it's like it's good man to have around. So it's fun.
Love that. Before I let you go, my man Michael, what you got for my man Great Volk?
Hey Volk,
All
thanks
right,
for joining us. What's up? No, so I just want to ask you guys brought it up earlier. Ilia TOPURIA moving up to lightweight. If he does fight Islam Makhachev, you obviously fought both guys. How do you think that fight goes?
Yeah, so it's it just comes to can Ilia catch him? That's what it is, and he definitely can. Ilia's very, especially with his approach. He really backs his strike and his boxing. He really knows that he will eventually find the chin, and he's stoic till that happens. You know what I mean? He is on task, and he doesn't. You know what I mean? He'll go even if things aren't working. He's still going to try and find it. So. I think Islam's going to be a tough matchup for him because Islam can be quite defensive and safe. I think he's going to know he needs to play it safe with Ilia because he knows Ilia is going to have that puncher's chance. But I just think them later rounds, is going to be very difficult for Ilia. So, but Ilia can, if he puts hands on anyone, like if he traps them, gets them where they don't want to be and lands a nice big shot, it's going to be game over. He can knock out anyone, even in the lightweight division. But yeah, I just believe that probably would be his only chance, just from what I've seen, right? Like you hear about him having really good grappling and you hear things and you won't know till I see that at the highest level. So if he starts out grappling Islam or stop and takedown defense and things like that, then I'm going to be like, oh, okay, now I'm seeing something that I haven't really seen. So now then my opinion might change within the first round. But I haven't really seen that. So I'm going to go with what I know. And I know he can hit hard. I felt it firsthand. Like, well, I didn't feel, actually, I don't remember it. But it's but yeah, it's again, if he puts his hands, he can definitely catch him. So he's just as dangerous as anyone in that lightweight division.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting matchup because I will give, we don't have to worry about, so Islam is very good about using his length and throwing the body kicks. So if he goes southpaw to orthodox, he's going to throw that body. Islam is a southpaw. Yeah, Islam's southpaw, and then I think Ilia TOPURIA is orthodox. So, Islam's going to throw that body kick, and are we going to see Ilia TOPURIA catch a kick and actually run for a takedown and start grappling with him? I highly doubt it. I think I agree with you. He's going to stay on task and try to get to that sweet spot where he can get the 3-piece combination, a 4-piece combination to try to knock you out. But then you got to worry about Islam's, judo, getting closing the distance, going to the clinch, looking to, use the sweeps. That's going to be I think, the X factor. Who's going to be able to execute and get themselves in a safe place to be able to outwork the other guy? Can Ilia Topuria defend a takedown? Because I feel like Ilia Topuria is a better boxer than Dustin. Does he have more power than Dustin? I'm not sure. We saw what Islam could do against a good boxer when it comes to Dustin Poirier. You know, it took him a while to get to that, you know, take him down, get the choke. It's going to be a sick fight. But when you look at what Islam's been able to do to some of the best strikers in the division, it's like, what can Ilia Topuria show something that's different? But here's the shitty, it could be a shitty thing is that if Ilia goes up and he fights for a number one contendership fight, which I think he should fight, you know, maybe Charles, somebody, and then Islam fights somebody else, Islam can leave, you know, the division, and we might never have that opportunity to see Islam versus Ilia Topuria because Islam has stated that he wants to go up to 170 and try to win the belt there. So there's a small opportunity that we might not, that there's a potential we might not even see this fight just because they both want two different things.
There's a couple of things I want to touch on because you bring up two good points. I'll start off with what you were just saying because let's remember Bilal's fighting Jack Della.
Yep.
Islam always wanted to move up. The Bilal thing, the relationship is why he wouldn't do that.
Yep.
So if Bilal was to lose his belt, Islam's moving up and then maybe giving up on lightweight. Full stop. So so you're onto it. So it could just be Ilia fighting someone for the vacant belt. We don't know. So much can change. And another thing that I want to touch because you bring up Islam being a southpaw. So with Ilia's style, again with a southpaw, a lot of your shot selections and everything changes with a completely different stance. So I think that's going to give him a lot different problems. He's got time to work on those things, obviously. But I just don't think he's, you know, I talked about being stoic and being on task and having that flow in or that process to finding the shot. I think I will say this, I feel like he's a lot more effective on orthodox than southpaws. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I'll say that now.
You're saying Ilia Topuria is more effective against orthodox than southpaws, or you saying
even from little.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I feel Ilia Topuria fights better when he fights orthodox because that's what you get used to seeing. When he fights somebody who's southpaw, because that's one of the things that Islam did to you. He threw that body kick because you're shorter, right? Like even when I fight guys who are taller and they go southpaw and they throw that body kick, I'm like, fuck, I can't get to him. If they throw the body kick correctly, right? If they throw it like, you know, a whip, you're gonna be able to get to him. But if I throw like a Muay Thai, like a boom, and drive my knee across your forearms, it's like there's no opportunity for you to counter. It's a lot harder to deal with, and that's what I think Islam's going to try to do. But then, like you said, Ilia Topuria is going to be like, okay, I'm going to have to eat that right hand immediately, or eat it, try to wrestle, eat it, or try to get closer to him. So it's an interesting matchup, and I can't wait to see how those two approach the dynamic of that fight.
Yeah, it's funny because he's our matador, right? Like Ilia's our matador.
Yep.
But I know Islam, their approach in their striking is to be the matador.
Yes.
So they even say that. I'm pretty sure they even say that in the corner. I think Javier's like, be the matador, be the matador. It's like bait them, let them do all the work.
Yep.
So they can count them or time the shots coming in and stuff like that. So it's funny. Islam's really good at playing their El Matador, where you know, that's
Ilia Topuria is different,
name, but Ilia's going to be the bull.
Exactly. I think Ilia's always been the fucking bull. Even when he fought you, when he fought Max, when he fought Bryce Mitchell, he's always coming, and that's why I think it's so hard to fight. Because even when I don't fight anymore, but I'm like, okay, where do you beat a guy like Ilia? Where do you beat a guy like Volk? Where do you beat all these guys? And I feel with Ilia, if you try to run from him, you're fucking yourself. Because if he finds you, then it's like, fuck. Now I got to try to, it's like fighting Rodtang. If you ain't got a chin and you can't, good luck trying to beat Rodtang in a striking battle, right? Because he just has chin and he has the power. So I feel like Ilia, he's got it, his chin hasn't been tested. I feel like it's been tested, but he's willing to give a shot he takes his shot to give his own shot. And I feel like those are always the hardest guys to fight, in my opinion, with my structure, my skill set, because the motherfuckers, they could just keep coming. Like when I fought Rotang, I hit him as hard as I could, and he just kept on fucking coming. I was like, great. Hopefully my chain can last to the fucking MMA rounds.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's for someone like yourself and myself. If people want to try and beat us like that way, like, try and out, like, I don't think that is an avenue for these fighters. I still think now, even, people are going to think, I still think they know that their best chance is to catch me.
Yep.
And I think that's exactly what Diego is exactly. And I think that's what Diego is going to be doing as well. So I know exactly what you're talking about there.
Boom. Damn, I love...
and one...
Go ahead.
I was going to say one other thing I wanted to ask about before we go. Good friend of the show, Aljamain Sterling. Some sick training footage, both you guys in Phuket, Thailand. How did that connection happen, and what was it like getting to work with someone like Aljo? Because I know DJ, you could speak from experience. He's legit, dude. When you see him in the gym, he's legit.
He's good. He's good at fucking grappling. He's a big fucking dude.
Yeah, so it's a blowout that he made, bantamweight, to be honest. He's a big dude. Good dude, man. Like, we got along very well. So it started off where I didn't even know he was there. So I rocked up and he was there because he's doing like the Russian reality show that they're doing. He was one of the coaches. So he was there filming that. So then when you was there, we're like, we'll get some training in. So we got in contact and just started training. So it was good. It was good to have him. We had a few people. We had Jeremy Kennedy and there was a few guys. Obviously, I had Craig Jones over there, Frank, my wrestling coach. So it was good. Had very good bodies to work with over there. So training was awesome. We actually were, YouTube, we just got it out now. Cooking with Volk. He did a Cooking with Volk with us. So it was good, man. We're hanging out a bit, even outside of training. So good dude. So him and Dennis really get along with him. Solid dudes.
Boom. I love it. Well, Volk, man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, your busy schedule, from the family, from mixed martial arts training. This is your opportunity to let the fans know how they can follow you, how can, check out your channels. We're Cooking with Volk, Old Man Volk. The floor is yours, brother.
Yes, I appreciate that. It's pretty easy to find me, I think. So Alex Volkanovski on YouTube, pretty easy to find. At Alex Volkanovski for my socials on Instagram, but should be pretty easy to find. But I appreciate you. It's Cooking with Volk. Plenty more coming your way. Maybe some Old Man Volk. Maybe even something different in the lead up to this fight. We're thinking of maybe having a bit of fun with this one in the lead up with the same crew with Sportsbet, the guys that come up with Old Man Volk. They got an idea, so you'll see something like that coming soon. So stay tuned.
Boom, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait to see what's next for Alex Volkanovski. Obviously, we know what's next, but we don't know if it's going to be something with cooking or Old Man Volk, but we know he's going to be taking on Diego Lopes at, what is that, UFC 314, right?
314, that's the one.
Yeah, UFC 314. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. That is our guest, Alex the Great Volkanovski, and my right-hand man, Michael Wansover. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Recap. And this part of the episode is where we recap everything we just went through with our guest. And our guest was the great Alex Volkanovski. Man, talking to him about the trilogy with Max Holloway, the 2 losses, him fighting himself, him, started from rugby and then cutting weight from 205, fighting at 185. Absolutely crazy talk. I think the one that I really enjoyed is hearing him talk about, after he had those 2 losses, finally taking a break from fighting and giving, all his time to his family, building their brand with Old Man Volk, Cooking with Volkanovski, was probably my favorite part of the chat, because in mixed martial arts, a lot of the athletes and a lot of you guys who are listeners, we appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys don't realize how stressful it can be when you're the champion, and the first thing they ask you right when you get to the press conference is, what is next? It's like, let's think about that. When a rapper drops a banger fucking album, you sit there and you listen to the album. You listen to it over and over and over, like The Weeknd. He just dropped Hurry Up Tomorrow. I constantly listen to that album. After I get done with the album, do you think the first thing that comes to my mind is like, man, when's the next album? No, I sit there and I appreciate each track. I go through and listen, and I actually fall in love with the album. Then I'm like, okay, I would love to see him on tour. there is no like, what's next? And I feel like in mixed martial arts, that's what we get. You don't get an opportunity to actually appreciate what that athlete just did in the octagon or the ring or the cage, whatever it may be. And I think that's something that we need to bring into mixed martial arts. Like after, an athlete does a spectacular, finish or a fight, the first thing we should ask him is like, hey, what's next? When's your next fight? When are you planning on fighting? And I think for him to have those 2 losses, to be able to come home, build the brand, and spend time with the wife and the kids, he has, I feel like, that perfect balance of, right now, I'm training for this fight. When I'm done with that, I'm going to step away from fighting and just focus on building the brand and spending time with the wife and kids. And I love to hear that, because there's a while ago where he was like, if I'm not training for a fight, I don't know what to do with myself. All I am is this fighter, the fighter identity, and he struggled with it. And to hear that he's at in a place now where he's found peace, no matter what happens in this fight with Diego Lopes, he knows he's going to be okay.
Yeah, and I want your opinion. Who is your featherweight GOAT, if you had to say? Because, why I ask is we obviously have Ilia Topuria leaving, so it can't be him.
It's not him. No, it's not him.
Can't be.
No,
yeah, it's not him. So
no.
Who is it?
Man, that's a good question. You got guys like Jose Aldo, you got Alex Volkanovski, you got Max Holloway. I think it's going to come down to those 3, because you look at even the infancy stage of the featherweight division. It's not very long, because the featherweight division was implemented right when UFC purchased WEC. And I felt that was like probably 2012. Well, they purchased it in 2010. So I felt like the infancy stage was 2011. You got good fights like, Jose Aldo with Mark Hominick, Jose Aldo against Korean Zombie, Chad Mendes, the Conor McGregor. Not even going to throw Conor McGregor in there. He never defended the belt. He went up to lightweight. And then you had the Max Holloway beating guys like Jose Aldo. I mean, his fights with Brian Ortega. And then you have Alex Volkanovski. So when you look at it, it's got to be those 3. And then, I'm going to take another step. It's going to come down to Max Holloway and Alex Volkanovski. Those 2 are like neck and neck when it comes to the featherweight GOATs. So it's either going to be those 2. So if I had to do a Mount Rushmore, I like how the other producer Nick says it doesn't have to always be one guy, but you look at a collective of athletes.
But I will say though,
go on.
Volkanovski 3-0 versus Holloway.
Yeah, I mean
Holloway,
right there.
Holloway 2-0 versus Jose Aldo, and Volkanovski has a win over Jose Aldo. So the reason why I brought it up, my featherweight GOAT is Volkanovski, and if he regains that title, I think it's like, okay,
yeah, it's submitted.
Hands down.
It's submitted.
Yeah.
Now that you bring up the stats that he's beat Max Holloway, then you have to go he's a featherweight GOAT, because I mean, take a step back and we look at since the beginning of the featherweight division in the UFC, Jose Aldo, Max Holloway, Volkanovski, Ilia Topuria. Am I wrong?
No, it's those 4.
Those 4.
100%, I would say.
That's it. That's Mount Rushmore for of the featherweight GOATs right there, right? You look at let's
because the only blip in it is Conor McGregor, right? And then he left right away.
Then he left. So,
remember, Jose Aldo was obviously the first ever because he came over from WEC, which brought in the divisions.
Yep.
So as you said, it's not a long history, especially because Jose Aldo was champ for like 7 years or some shit.
Exactly.
Like,
it's almost
so,
like
yeah.
But you look at my division or even Alex featherweight division. There's been 4 champions in the whole infancy of its stage. Well, excuse me, 5 champions, including Conor McGregor. But I would say Alex Volkanovski is the GOAT. Then after that, it's going to be Max Holloway. And then after that, Jose Aldo. And then Conor McGregor, Mount Rushmore. I believe it's 4 heads, so Conor doesn't make that cut. But
you have Conor McGregor over Topuria at 4th?
Fuck no. No.
Because you just misspoke. You didn't say. Okay,
so
then
yeah, I'm saying like the Mount Rushmore of. Oh, so yeah, featherweight. Volkanovski, Jose Aldo, Max Holloway, and you got the 4th. Ooh, who would I put over there? I would put. Ooh, that's fucking hard. Who would you put over there? Conor McGregor over Ilia Topuria? Who would you go?
Oh, definitely Topuria. I mean, Topuria knocked out Alex Volkanovski and Max Holloway.
Oh, yeah,
who dominated
the
that's division.
True. I think
that alone. I'm just going. I have to go.
Yep,
Topuria. But I agree with your order though of Volk number 1, number 2 Max Holloway, number 3 Jose Aldo, number 3 Ilia TOPURIA. I mean, number 4, sorry.
Yeah,
Ilia TOPURIA. I think that's the top 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like Conor McGregor didn't even fight. He only champion he ever fought in the featherweight division was Jose Aldo. I mean, he fought Chad Mendes. He was never a champion. Other than that, he brought Diego Brandao. He hasn't really fought a lot of champions in 145, if my memory serves me correct.
Well, yeah, I mean, Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier.
Oh, Dustin Poirier.
Well before they
Well
were,
before.
yeah.
And Max Holloway was a champion, but Dustin Poirier was never, a undisputed. He was the interim champion, but, and then Dustin came back and clapped that ass 2 times. And, so there you go.
Yeah, but either way, obviously, we got a little off topic. With Volkanovski, what do you think of this fight for him? It's Diego Lopes is definitely one of the more like toolsy fighters. Like it seems like he doesn't have a ton of weaknesses, and he's very high energy. So I love this matchup for the new undisputed featherweight title.
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup, and I love. After talking to Alex Volkanovski, he knows, and it's just like me. Only way someone's going to beat me is if they catch me. Right? And I feel that's true going into this fight because you get Diego Lopes, very good grappling, very good striking, has knockout power. He's dropped, Brian Ortega multiple times in that fight. Brian Ortega is one of those guys who has a very durable chin, and he had a hard time with Diego Lopes on the feet. And I think, with Alex Volkanovski, he even stated it before, coming off, 2 losses, back-to-back knockout losses. He took that break to give his brain a little time to, heal from those concussions. But the biggest thing is that Alex Volkanovski's got to spend 25 minutes not getting caught. And Diego Lopes has got to spend 25 minutes trying to figure out how he can find the right punch to knock out Alex Volkanovski. Can we see, Diego Lopes outwork Alex Volkanovski? I think it's going to be very hard because Diego Lopes has never gone 25 minutes where Alex Volkanovski has done that before. But I'm not going to give you guys everything. You guys got to come back here on the YouTube channel and watch the final predictions. But I think it's a great fight. I think it's going to be good for Alex Volkanovski to get back in there, especially where his mindset is going into this fight because he knows no matter what happens, if he becomes a champion or if he doesn't, everything's going to be okay. And sometimes that could be even a more dangerous fighter because they know they have nothing to lose.
Yeah, and my dream scenario, if I could be biased for a little bit, we have obviously the main event, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Let's say, friend of the show, we give him that MightyCast rub, and Volkanovski, he wins that title back. He uses the momentum of this MightyCast, takes it through UFC 314, and let's say he wins the title back. What I also hope happens is in the co-main event, Yair Rodriguez versus my boy, Patricio Pitbull, making his UFC debut. That is what I would love to see a Volkanovski back on top and then going against Patricio Pitbull, who, God, how long has he been a champion outside of UFC? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I think the thing that's interesting about Pitbull is he's had so many fights in Bellator. I mean, I was looking it up. I mean, he's been there since 2000 he's basically been there longer than fucking Scott Coker has, right? And Scott Coker was the last, CEO to sell the company. And he's fought at 135, 145, and 155. Didn't do very well at 135 when he fought Sergio Pettis just because I felt the weight cut was just too much for him. But now I think he's found the best place for him is just 145. And now, finally, we're going to be able to see what a very dominant, long-time dominant champion at 145 can do in a UFC. You see this all the time where these guys, they get locked in these contracts and they find no reason to leave their organization. But now we get Pitbull in the featherweight division in the UFC, and that's a matchup that can happen, right? If Alex Volkanovski is able to win, and if Yair Rodriguez can't get past, Pitbull, we can definitely see that fight happen. And I like that matchup because you have Pitbull. He has that stance just like Henry Cejudo does, the borders. He's waiting for his opponent to come across. But as I sit here and look at it, I think Alex Volkanovski would outwork Pitbull because we've seen it before with AJ McGee. We've seen it before with Sergio Pettis. But you know what? This is Mighty speaking from watching the previous fights because I followed Pitbull's career, his whole entire career. And who knows? Maybe your dream can come true, Michael.
Yeah, and shout out to Captain Eric because that guy just always loves the shout outs and the camera time. He can't. He's more comfortable in front of a camera than everyday life, I think. So shout out to Captain Eric and all the boys in the Tau Brazil. But also want to give everyone a heads up. Next week, you are going to meet in person with Chase Hooper in Seattle, the Washington native. So just want to give everyone a heads up. That is going to be our MightyCast next week. Chase Hooper is a very, very toolsy lightweight who has looked phenomenal lately. And very good jiu-jitsu game. So just wanted to give everyone that little tease. We're going to have the Washington native on the MightyCast, Chase Hooper.
Yeah, it'd be good to talk to Chase because he comes from the same area that I come from. And in our area, when I first started doing mixed martial arts in Washington State, it wasn't a very big scene, meaning that you have a mixed martial art. We still don't have many MMA gyms. You go to California, you go to, Vegas, you go to you go to Miami, you go everywhere. You can find many gyms, but here there's not many good gyms, and he comes from one of them. So it's going to be a good conversation to have with him, and I can't wait to chop it up because when he started in the UFC, he was super young. Now he started to mature into his body and into the division, and I expect great things from Chase Hooper.
Yeah, it's called Combat Sport and Fitness for what
Combat
it's
Sports
worth.
Fitness. Okay, yeah, that's what it's called. Okay.
Yeah, so next week we'll of course have all the goodies, the final predictions, all that stuff. But no, thank you to Alex Volkanovski. I would say he was one of our most requested guests in the history of MightyCast. So I'm happy we can make it happen, and we'll definitely go out to Australia one day, taste some of that Alex Volkanovski food. That cuisine, I can't wait to taste one of his steaks because sounds like that man knows what he's doing.
Oh, I'm sure they got
behind a grill.
I'm sure they got good fucking cuts of steak out there in Australia. I mean, the Wagyu and
I wonder Australia or South Africa. We'll have to ask.
Yeah,
DDP, which one's better?
Yeah, absolutely. But overall, I think it's a great conversation with Alex Volkanovski. Hear about the trilogy, hear about him cutting the weight, him being 36, going to be 37 as he takes on Diego Lopes, UFC 314. And yeah, man, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MightyCast, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe. Also, please leave a comment down below because we like to get involved with the conversation and let us know who you guys also want to see on the MightyCast. We're doing our best to bring you banger after banger after banger, and that's what me and Michael do. It's like Metro Boomin and I'm Future. Or I could be The Weeknd. We just keep coming up, new fucking hits. So I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. That is my co-host, right-hand man, Michael Wandsworth. Make sure you guys leave some love, and we will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast.